labs at LaGuardia, from hospitals in Mott Haven and libraries in El Barrio that have too long known only neglect. I stand alongside construction workers in steel-toed boots and halal cart vendors whose knees ache from working all day. I stand alongside neighbors who carry a plate of food to the elderly couple down the hall, those in a rush who still lift strangers' strollers up subway stairs, and every person who makes the choice day after day, even when it feels impossible, to call our city home. I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know there are some who view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this: if you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor. Regardless of whether we agree, I will protect you, celebrate with you, mourn alongside you, and never, not for a second, hide from you. I thank the labor and movement leaders here today, the activists and the elected officials who will return to fighting for New Yorkers the second this ceremony concludes, and the performers who have gifted us with their talent. Thank you to Governor Hochul. Thank you as well to Mayor Adams. Dorothy's son, a son of Brownsville who rose from washing dishes to the highest position in our city, for being here as well. He and I have had our share of disagreements, but I will always be touched that he chose me as the mayoral candidate that he would most want to be trapped with on an elevator. Thank you to the two titans who, as an assembly member, I've had the privilege of being represented by in Congress, Nidia Velázquez, and our incredible opening speaker, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Go AOC.
You have paved the way for this moment.
Oh my God, Bernie.
Thank you to the man whose leadership I seek most to emulate, who I am so grateful to be sworn in by today, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Bernie fucking Sanders.
Thank you to my teams, from the assembly to the campaign to the transition, and now the team I am so excited to lead from City Hall. Thank you to my parents, Mama and Baba, for raising me.
That guy is a leader.
For teaching me how to be in this world and for having brought me to this city. Thank you to my family, from Kampala to Delhi.
That guy is a proper leader.
And thank you to my wife, Rama.
Happy New Year, bro. Happy New Year, Ashing. I hope this gives hope to New Yorkers. I think it will.
For being my best friend and for always showing me the beauty in everyday things.
I mean, it's enough for me that he mentioned Bernie Sanders. That will already like make him way better as being in the mayor.
A moment like this comes rarely. Seldom do we hold such an opportunity to transform and reinvent. Rarer still is it the people themselves whose hands are the ones upon the levers of change. And yet we know that too often in our past, moments of great possibility have been promptly surrendered to small imagination and smaller ambition. What was promised was never pursued. What could have changed remained the same. For the New Yorkers most eager to see our city remade, the weight has only grown heavier.
I don't know, let's see how he performs. Remember that he's a politician. That is true.
In writing this address, I have been told that this is the occasion
that is true.
to reset expectations.
But we'll see.
That I should use this opportunity to encourage the people of New York to ask for little and expect even less. I will do no such thing.
But he is a speaker, though.
The only expectation I seek to reset is that of small expectations. Beginning today, We will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try.
What did you do on New Year Eve?
To those who insist that the era of big government is over,
we streamed for a bit, and then we watched fireworks from around the world. Then we went outside and watched the fireworks here in the town.
For too long,
And then I edited some shorts. That's about it. Not much. Stayed home with my family, with my wife and my kids.
To question the role of government, whose faith in democracy has been eroded by decades of apathy. We will restore that trust by walking a different path. One where government is no longer solely the final recourse for those struggling. One where excellence is no longer the exception.
Iran protests, I do have a segment for that one as well. Jesus loves you. I don't think he does. Hey Raymond, thanks for the follow.
Let us demand the same from those who work in government. In a city where the mere names
of
our streets are associated with the innovation of the industries that call them home, we will make the word City Hall synonymous with both resolve and results.
He might love you. Yeah.
As we embark upon this work, let us advance.
But I would rather have the love of Odin, the All-Father.
Who does New York belong to? For much of our history, the response
or Bruce
from
Banner,
Hall has been
also
simple.
known as the Hulk.
It belongs only to the wealthy
or Gandalf the Grey.
Those who never strain to capture the attention of those in power.
Or Dora the
Working
Explorer.
People have reckoned with the consequences. Crowded classrooms and public housing developments where the elevators sit out.
Or any other of those like fictional
characters.
characters.
With potholes and buses that arrive half an hour late, if at all. Wages that do not rise.
I'll take Winnie the Pooh then. Oh my God, you can't go to China anymore.
Still,
you can't love Winnie the Pooh.
There have been brief, fleeting moments where the equation changed. 12
look at the
Bill de
thumbnail.
Blasio stood where I stand now, as he promised to put an end to economic and social inequalities that divided our city into two. In 1990, David Dinkins swore the same oath I swore today, vowing to celebrate the gorgeous mosaic that is New York.
What a mystery.
Where every one of us is deserving of a decent life. And nearly 6 decades before him, Fiorella LaGuardia took office with the goal of building a city that was far greater and more beautiful for the hungry and the poor. Some of these mayors achieved more success than others, but they were unified by a shared belief that New York could belong to more than just a privileged few.
I went to Iran in 2018 and met lots of people. Oh, you went to Iran in 2018. I met a lot of people there. They told me that 70% of people there are atheists and don't go to mosque at all. They absolutely hate the regime.
And they know that this belief could be made
oh yeah, the religious takeover in the 80s kind of wrecked the whole country. If you think about it, like before the 80s, Iran was really developed, but because of the war raged in Iran by the Soviet Union and the US, and also the religious regime that eventually took power, they kind of pushed Iran back like generations. So I think that religious regime should be like overthrown.
Well, my friends, we can look to Madiba and the South African Freedom Charter
to make Iran again like in the forefront of development and progressive thinking, like it used to be.
This will not be a tale of one city governed only by the 1%, nor will it be a tale of two cities.
I have a friend from there too. He prefers to be called Persian rather than Iranian.
Of 8.5 million cities, each of them a New Yorker with hopes and fears, each a universe, each of them woven together.
But Persian is like a bit of a more broad terminology to use.
Yiddish and Creole. They will pray in mosques, at shul, at church, at gurudwaras and mandirs.
Actually, Persian
and
people are
temples.
very intelligent. They understand
pray
what's happening in their country. They are very hard to get radicalized.
Russian Jewish immigrants in Brighton Beach.
Oh yeah.
Italians in Rossville and Irish families in Woodhaven. Many of whom came here with nothing but a dream of a better life, a dream which has withered away. They will be young people in cramped Marble Hill apartments where the walls shake when the subway passes. They will be black homeowners in St. Albans, whose homes represent a physical testament to triumph over decades of lesser paid labor and redlining. They will be Palestinian New Yorkers in Bay Ridge.
Woo.
Who will no longer have to contend with a politics that speaks of universalism and then makes them the exception.
God
Few
fucking
of these
damn it.
8.5 million will fit into neat and easy boxes. Some will be voters from Hillside Avenue or Fordham Road who supported President Trump a year before they voted for me, tired of being failed by their party's establishment. The majority will not use the language that we often expect from those who wield influence.
That guy,
I welcome the change.
if he achieves everything he plans to achieve,
have deployed decorum to mask agendas of cruelty.
he's gonna do big things in the United States.
Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs will be met. Their hopes and dreams and interests
We can move to New York.
transparently in government. They will shape our future.
If not
And
New
for
York,
too
we can go
long,
to
these
Vermont
communities
because
have existed
Bernie Sanders
as
is there.
distinct from one another. We will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it. Because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers.
My fucking God.
And it will be New Yorkers who reform a long broken property tax system. New Yorkers who will create a new Department of Community Safety that will tackle the mental health crisis and let the police focus on the job they signed up to do. New Yorkers who will take on the bad landlords who mistreat their tenants and free small business owners from the shackles of bloated bureaucracy.
Work the shaft,
And I am
Mamdani.
proud to be one of those New Yorkers. When we won the primary last June, there were many who said these aspirations and those who held them had come out of nowhere.
Hey buddy, unfortunately
Yet
Iran is
one
done
man's
for
nowhere is
investing
another
hundreds of
man's
billions of
somewhere.
dollars into state terrorism instead of
This
their own
movement
economy.
came out
Communist
of
Mamdani will
8.5
turn into...
million somewheres.
Mamdani isn't
Taxicab
communist,
depots and
Gabriel
Amazon
Zimmerman. I think
warehouses,
that's something that
DSA
is quite
meetings and
easily
curbside domino
discoverable
games.
if you read about it.
The powers
Mamdani
that
is
be
probably
had
gonna
looked
be
away from these
one of the
places
best,
for quite
better
some time
New
if
York
they'd known about
mayors
them at
that they've
all.
ever had.
So they dismissed them as nowhere. But in our city, where every corner of these 5 boroughs holds power, there is no nowhere and there is no one. There is only New York and there are only New Yorkers.
That guy.
8.5 million New Yorkers will speak this new era into existence. It will be loud. It will be different. It will feel like the New York we love. No matter how long you have called this city home, that love has shaped your life. I know that it has shaped mine. This is the city where I set land speed records on my Razor scooter at the age of 12. Quickest 4 blocks of my life. The city where I ate powdered donuts at halftimes during AYSO soccer games and realized I probably was not going to be going pro. The city where I devoured 2 big slices at Coronet's Pizza, played cricket with my friends at Ferry Point Park, and took the 1 train to the BX10 only to still show up late to Bronx Science.
Hey Edgar, thanks for the follow.
The city where I have gone on hunger strike just outside these gates.
He's totally a so-called socialist but a communist. I know someone else who was good at speeches and look how it turned out.
And waited in quiet terror for
No,
my father to
he's
emerge
far
from
from a
26
communist or a
Federal Plaza.
socialist.
The city where I took a
He's way closer to a Nordic social democrat than a socialist or a communist. And even social democrats in the Nordic is like quite far from socialist or communist.
To live in New York, to love New York.
But if you read right-wing information on right-wing news outlets about Mamdani, then of course you could believe that he's a communist or socialist, but he is not.
For coffee on the same block. Where else could a Muslim kid like me grow up eating bagels and lox every Sunday? That love will be our guide as we pursue our agenda. Here, where the language of the New Deal was born.
And I think the United States could do some... Well, all right, then we'll talk in about 2-3 years and I'll remind you. Oh yeah, 100%.
Will we make it possible for every New
Yorker is not gonna fuck it up.
A life they love once again?
You think New York is a safe haven now? Like, you think New York is really good now? When they've had like the most capitalist mayors
will no longer
for a long
discourage
time.
Young adults from starting a family. Because we will deliver universal child care for the many by taxing the wealthiest few.
I'm all for that.
Those in rent-stabilized homes will no longer dread the latest rent hike, because we will freeze the rent. Getting on a bus without worrying about a fare hike or whether you'll be able to get to your destination on time will no longer be deemed a small miracle, because we will make those buses fast and free. These policies are not simply about the costs we make free, but the lives we fill with freedom. For too long in our city,
we need someone like that here too. Everything he says will fit. Oh yeah.
Our city hall will change that. These promises carried our movement to City Hall, and they will carry us from the rallying cries of a campaign to the realities of a new era in politics. 2 Sundays ago, as snow softly fell, I spent 12 hours at the Museum of the Moving Image in Astoria, listening to New Yorkers from every borough as they told me about the city that is theirs. We discussed construction hours on the Van Wyck Expressway and EBT eligibility, affordable housing for artists and ICE raids. I spoke to a man named TJ who said that one day a few years ago, his heart broke as he realized that he would never get ahead here, no matter how hard he worked. I spoke to a Pakistani auntie named Samina, who told me that this movement had fostered something too rare: softness in people's hearts. As she said to me in Urdu, "Logo ke dil badal gaye hain." 142 New Yorkers out of 8.5 million. And yet, if anything united each person sitting across from me, it was the shared recognition that this moment demands a new politics and a new approach to power. We will deliver nothing less as we work each day to make this city belong to more of its people than it did the day before. Here is what I want you to expect from the administration that this morning moved into the building behind me. We will transform the culture of City Hall from one of no to one of how. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy.
Nope.
We will govern without shame.
New York City will be fine, just like London.
No apology for what we believe.
If your worldview is really narrow through right-wing scope, yeah, then London and New York City will go down.
I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical. As the great senator from Vermont once said,
may I remind you, the last 4 New York mayors were Democrats. I'm over here, remember?
So few and deny so many
yeah,
people
pure capitalist Democrats.
We will strive each day to ensure that no New Yorker is priced out of any one of those basic
who didn't really
necessities.
differ from each other.
Throughout it all,
They kind of
we
continued the
will,
same
in
thing
the
that's been
words
going
of
on in New
Jason
York for
Terrence
like
Phillips,
decades.
better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the moi, be outside. Because this is a government of New York, by New York, and for New York.
In a time...
Before I end,
oh, sorry.
I want to ask all of you, if you are able, whether you are here today or anywhere watching, to stand with me. I ask you to stand with us now and every day that follows. City Hall will not be able to deliver on
Trump
our
is
own.
an idiot.
And while we will encourage
That's
New
a known
Yorkers
fact.
to demand more from those
Except
with the
he
great
knows
privilege
how
of
to
serving them,
point
we
out a
will
tiger
encourage you
from
to
a cognitive
demand
test
more of yourselves
3
as well.
times.
The
Congratulations.
movement we began over a year ago did not end with our election. It will not end this afternoon. It lives on with every battle we will fight together. Every blizzard and flood we withstand together. Every moment of fiscal challenge we overcome with ambition, not austerity, together. Every way we pursue change in working people's interests, rather than at their expense.
Well, he must be
together.
like because he's the president.
No longer will we treat victory as an invitation to turn off the news.
I like to give everyone a chance. Time will tell how we will do, just like with everyone. Oh yeah, it's not a guarantee that Mamdani will succeed what he wants to do. I'm from New Jersey, but obviously you know a lot better than me. Who knows, maybe you do.
Every single day. What we achieve together will reach across the 5 boroughs and it will resonate far beyond. There are many who
You're
will be
calling New Jersey and New York City
they
the same.
want to know if the left can govern. They want to know if the struggles that afflict them
New York
can
City
be
is
solved.
quite different from a lot of
They
different
want to
places
know
in the US.
if it is right to hope again. So standing together with the wind of purpose at our backs,
I can tell you what
we will do
Mamdani won.
something that New Yorkers do better than anyone else. We will set an example for the world. If what Sinatra said is true,
None of us sees the
let
future
us
though.
prove that anyone
Wherever
can
we
make it
live.
in New York and anywhere else too. Let us prove that when a city belongs to the people, there is no need too small to be met, no person too sick to be made healthy, no one too alone to feel like New York is their home. The work continues. The work endures. The
More
work,
mosques.
my friends, has only just begun. Thank you.
Change is always scary. That speech is scary for people because the way Mamdani addresses everyone is so drastically different from what we've grown to know in the past few years when we hear like any politician from the right talking, or whether it's Nigel Farage in the UK, whether it's the AFD members in Germany, whether it's Trump in the US, which are our right is the correct one and the other side is demons, bad people, and you should hate them. Mamdani is different. Mamdani doesn't care if you like him, you don't like him, if you voted for him or didn't vote for him. He's your mayor. He will do anything to make your life better. And that is so drastically different and scary for the right. Because this shows that unifying people instead of dividing people is a powerful tool in politics. I don't know if Mamdani is going to do well. I don't know if Mamdani will succeed. But Mamdani got elected because he is unifying people instead of dividing them. And that is something that the right is losing. There is a reason why 80% of the young women voted for Mamdani. Who would want to vote for any right-wing politician to be the mayor of New York City? There's no reason. They treat you as subhuman. They take rights from you. They don't want you to be They want you to be home, caring for the kids while the men work. They're stripping away your individuality. To many Muslims, your answers and you know it. What? So, Mamdani talking to everyone. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Jew or a Hindu. He represents everyone. And he cares about New York. That is something none of his competitors could say. None of his competitors put New York before anyone else. Mamdani did that. Mamdani promised to do that. He's gonna put New York before anyone else. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did that throughout his campaign. He did that throughout all the debates, all through his speeches and others. And even in this speech, he put New York before anyone else. Average day New Yorkers, your washmate. Sorry you give, but you clearly are blind. Blinded by your hatred towards unity. Hey, Five, thanks for the follow. You're clearly so brainwashed by the right that when a person acts like a normal human being, caring about the enemies and your allies the same way, it's just mind-boggling to you and you just fucking rage. Yes, you do. You have complete MAGA classes, probably up your ass. And that's why it's scary when you have a person like this. Yeah, well, I can read your previous comments and I can see that. I want to see the Bernie portion here. Oh, we got AOC talking as well. But as I stated, Mamdani might succeed, might not, but at least he ran his campaign as he is. Who does not support healthcare for all or free childcare? Selfish people. It's the same group of people that don't want to pay taxes because they don't want to help anyone else. It's the same selfish people who care about themselves and themselves only. And if you want healthcare for all or free childcare, you're labeled a communist or a socialist. It's the same fucking right-wing trope that they used throughout Mamdani's campaigning, that because Mamdani wants to tax the rich, that, oh no, all the billionaires will flee New York. The same thing they've done for the past 20 years. They've said the same fucking thing.
New Yorkers are going to flee. They're going to flee New York because of Zohran Mamdani.
To my liberal friends who keep saying, well, tax rates don't matter, then why is it, Sean, that everybody is leaving New York?
The main reason people are leaving New York, for example, is taxes.
New York City, unfortunately, we know friends that have moved out of there for Florida and other places.
The millionaires are leaving in great numbers.
Taxpayers, the wealthy in New York, leaving.
There are thousands of people who are leaving New York.
Who would want to leave? Well, apparently a lot of people do if they get to a point where they're taxed.
This is exactly what the right does all the time.
The quality of life here is spiraling down the but
it's the same thing that they are demonizing young women. My friend, my advice is don't be so seduced by big words and nice speeches. Democrat mayor's track record is deplorable. Look at Chicago, look at LA. You know, all due respect. Yeah. I don't like Democrats. I like individuals. There are individual Republicans as well. There are individual independents as well. I'm a huge fan of Bernie Sanders. But I don't like the Democratic Party. That's the big bit of an issue there. Like, you'll all back up this guy blindly without knowing anything about him, but he unified. Well, that is good, but let's see what truly happens. Oh, yeah. Talk is cheap. Yeah. exactly, Karen. Like, we don't know if Mamdani will succeed, but at least they are trying something different, other than doing the same thing, ranking up the cost of living in New York and pushing down the people who aren't doing that well. You know, at least they're trying to do something different. Is it gonna work? I don't know. It's the same thing that New Mexico was trying when they gave universal childcare to everyone who lives in New Mexico, which is fucking awesome. At least they're trying. How will they do that? That's another question. But at least they are thinking something different. Instead of just hitting your fucking head on the wall and complaining that nothing changes. Everything's shit.
The most affluent and the strong companies can relocate.
A lot of people I know of are thinking about moving out of New York City.
You could just talk to any one of the top real estate agencies here. It's going to be fire sale in New York.
We actually have thought about moving because the taxes are just so burdensome. I mean, in New York, it's insane.
New York had bad men before
in the city who, if they move out, heaven help New York City.
People are leaving New York City and New York State because of the high taxes.
You cannot continue to tax people. Don't you see what's happening even in New York City? They're running out of...
You're an educated person. When they say free, this is... Yeah, I'm willing to pay taxes. I'm doing relatively well. This is the difference between caring for others and only caring about yourself. It's like, I'm doing relatively well. I can provide good life for my wife and my kids. I don't care to pay more taxes to provide help and assistance to people who are not doing as well. You know, I don't mind that. But that is a completely foreign concept for a lot of Americans. Not saying all Americans, but a lot of Americans. Because America is kind of self-centered, selfish society compared to like Northern Europeans. I'm Nordic, so I'm Finnish. So even though us Finns also complain about taxes, but at the end of the day, we don't mind that because it provides services for us that we might need someday.
Of money. Why? Because the rich people are moving.
So if you, Gabriel, think that I'm afraid of taxes, no. Why not leave? What? What? Why not leave? Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year, nothing footage as well. Because I am an educated person, I know that providing quote-unquote free healthcare and free childcare, especially free childcare, is something that every society should aim for. And it is not impossible. It's just using your tax dollars a bit better. Well, way more educated than you give. I can see from all of your comments here that you probably struggle in math as much as Trump struggles. Ozzy is alive and well. Ozzy has never left the building. You probably believe that the drug prices are coming down 3,000% just because Trump said so. But as I stated about Zohran Mamdani, like we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he'll do great, maybe he'll not. Then we know. Let's see what AOC had to say.
Presenting flags. Please welcome the ceremonial officers.
You only believe in one policy, okay? Let's see it. I can't wait to hear this. What is your one policy? But you don't ever get there, Gabriel Zimmerman, unless somebody starts that, you know? Get all your criminals out like here. What? Could you write English? Could you even form one proper sentence? Thanks. If you have one policy, could you write it like properly? Just a bit of a request on my end. We should care about all the people who are down on their luck, except like a lot of Republicans think that it's your personal responsibility and nobody should help you. That's why that process doesn't start in the US, unless there's people who are willing to do that. So Mamdani has done nothing yet, and I think there isn't actually that many places in New York where they put that. Again, you haven't, that sentence makes no sense. Get all your criminals out like here, genuinely once. Like.
Department and the fire department of the
My name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Gather here today to celebrate the beginning of his leadership, as well as that of two incredible elected officials who will be guiding the city by his side. Public Advocate Jumaane D. Williams and our new controller, Mark D. Levine. We also celebrate the hundreds and thousands of public servants and city leaders getting to work today, from our sanitation workers and librarians to our commissioners, deputy mayors, and our school's chancellor, as they care for our city and its people in the coming weeks, months, and years. Together, this ascent marks a new era for New York City.
I wonder if Twitter...
Led by a historic new mayor in Zohran Mamdani.
Is Twitter completely flipping over about this?
That makes our beautiful city run. Importantly, I also ask that we consider today an inauguration for each
My best
one
guess
of
is
us
he'll do nothing,
too.
obviously. I wish him lots of luck to prove me wrong.
8.5 million New Yorkers who make up the greatest city on earth. Because it is the people of New York City who have chosen historic, ambitious leadership in response to untenable and unprecedented times.
I think if he doesn't do well enough, he doesn't have a political future. So he's putting a lot of his own like reputation on the line. So there's a lot of pressure to perform, which is not always a good thing. Get your Quran out, that will help. I'm not Muslim. I'm an atheist, so. To be honest, I don't care. We were just having a discussion with my wife today because like there was a lot of people flipping out that Zohran Mamdani didn't swear into office with the Quran, the official one. That was like official one because you need to swear in with the Bible. It's not disgusting. It doesn't matter what fictitious book you have. I would use The Lord of the Rings, to be fair. If I got to be the mayor of New York, I would sworn in with the Lord of the Rings, or one of the Harry Potter books, or I don't know, one of the Franklin books to fuck around to beat Hexet. That would also be hilarious. I can't wait for the fucking Bernie Sanders memes again. Like this. It's New York City, not Pakistan. Know your history. So what was your one policy? You kind of mumbled something, but that didn't really make any sense. So could you try to make a sentence now? Yeah, Mamdani is sworn in as the new mayor of New York. It doesn't matter what fictitious books he has. In my opinion. But that comes from an atheist, so. Whether you hold the Bible or Quran, or whether you hold the fucking One Piece manga, it doesn't really matter. Like, better get the natives or the Vikings to take over then, to honor their history. We should have kept New York City. Well, New York City is part of the United States, so again, you make no fucking sense. I'm giving you a lot of chances here. Try to formulate a proper sentence.
We have chosen courage over fear. We have chosen prosperity for the many over spoils for...
Oh, you'll be surprised about the political future. Even if he failed with that kind of mouth on him, he could get re-elected. I mean, at least as of now, we don't know though, but at least he's one of the few politicians in the US that doesn't have like a criminal record or sexual harassment cases or sexual offenders or other charges like fraud or tax evasion or just a genuine horrible person like fucking Hillary. Like Hillary's skeletons in the closet was so fucking huge. One of the more like crooked politicians ever, Hillary Clinton. His family friends group, oh my fucking god. I can't read those anymore. That's enough. Those don't make any sense. They're just giving me a headache to read them. No, well, he might have a political future in like Senate or in Congress, but if he fucks up stuff for the New Yorkers, he has never a political career in New York. Would be really hard to get elected also in New York if he fucks things up. And also, we don't know if like some big billionaires throw money at him, even though he says that he's not going to serve those. But we don't know. Money makes people do wild things. This is surprisingly chill. Where's the right-wingers calling him a socialist? I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I'll take your unspoken advice just on the court of you being a smart guy. I mean, as you stated also, like, politicians are politicians. Like, it's really hard to trust politicians 100%. But at least he's doing something different. People wanted that. Vast majority wanted that. So, and especially young people. And as I stated when I was talking about like Republicans and young women, like that's a demographic. If you tap into that young people, whether like female or men, demographic, you're going to do really well in politics. Like if you tap into that specific group of people. I do think that, especially in the United States, there should be an upper limit of how old can participate in politics. I don't think people over 70s, even people over 60s, that's a bit stretched, should participate in, like, be a politician. Of course, they can participate in politics, but be like in Congress or Senate, let alone a president. Fuck no. I think presidents should be better representing the citizens itself. I think that's also one of the reasons why people voted for Mamdani instead of the other ones. It's like he is a bit more relatable. Not much, but a bit more relatable. Like, I can't relate to billionaires or like the super rich. I can't relate to any veterans. There was that one candidate that was a former like army veteran. But as an immigrant myself, and as a person who's followed Bernie Sanders for a long time, and also from Finland, I can relate to a lot of things Zohran Mamdani is saying when it comes to politics. So that is the closest for me. Again, is he gonna be? Is he gonna perform? Well, we'll just see. We'll just see. At least Trump likes him. So if you don't trust my judgment, trust Trump's judgment. Perkele, cross Europe. Trump liked Zohran Mamdani so much that Trump stole his outfit. And that day when Zohran Mamdani met Donald Trump was one of the best days ever, because the MAGA influencers in Twitter were just fucking melting. Because Trump was actually saying nice things about Mamdani, that Trump would love to live in the New York under Mamdani's leadership. It's not as easy as tapping into a certain demographic. This thing differs a lot of states to state. Even within the same state over here, we follow quite closely a lot of variables. Do you have any Mamdanis in Finland? I think we do have quite a lot. I think the newest one is Sofia Virta. And Sofia Virta has become quite a powerhouse, especially among the young. So if I was still in Finland, I would vote for Sofia. Sofia and Mamdani are quite close. I would say Sofia is probably a bit more left than Mamdani. Because again, we're talking about like the political spectrum. So if we're talking about the political spectrum that a lot of Americans don't really understand. Like, there we go. So there's other dimensions to politics than just left and right. Hey Francisco, thanks for the follow. There's a lot of more nuances when it comes to politics than just being far right or far left. Especially like, this is probably hard for people who are from the US to hear, but Democrats isn't the left-wing party. It is lefter than Republicans. But the biggest difference maker for Republicans and Democrats is actually like the vertical axis, like which is more conservative and which is more liberal. And that's a bigger, but that is nothing to do with left versus right. That is just conservatism versus liberals. So in this nice little compass that I provided you, neither would be far right. Republicans isn't far right and Democrats isn't far right. Neither would be far left. Democrats isn't far left and Republicans isn't far left. So this is my evaluation based on even with the Trump's Republicans who are quite right. And even with, let's play the devil's advocates and say Bernie Sanders Democrats, even though Bernie and Mamdani and AOC are small, they are not the ruling party of Democratic Party. So both would be on the right side. Republicans would be a bit more on the right side than the Democrats, but the biggest difference maker would be that Republicans would be almost at the top of the conservative the axis, and then Democrats would be not even in the like closer to the bottom. They would be in the middle of the liberal side. They are not that liberal though. Where would you put Ilhan Omar? Ilhan Omar would probably be close to hearish. Like left and liberal. Way more than, even way more than Bernie. Even though Bernie is quite out there. But I think Ilhan Omar would be, Omar needs deported. I don't think she needs deported. Is there a good reason for that? Like I said before, you've got a lot of balls to dive into most controversial topics out there. I wish you a very prosperous and happy new year, my friend. I mean, it's wild to follow American politics from an eyes of a European, because the way Americans do politics is like the far edge of the spectrum. There's no nuance in political conversation. Immediately, if you're more left than my party, you're far left, radicalized fucking communist. And immediately, if you're a bit more right than my party, this is like me talking about if I would be a Democrat, which I'm not, then you are a far right, full-blown Nazi, which is not the case. Like, there is no nuance in the political conversation in the United States. It's always the complete polar opposites, even though politics are more nuanced. I know it needs to be dumbed down quite a lot, because if there are too much nuances and information, it might get a bit too confusing. But that's why, for example, it's baffling to me that here in Ireland, even here in Ireland, we don't have a proper like government-run survey for the elected and for the citizens. So, for example, if you ever view an election in Finland, the first thing Finnish people do to find the perfect candidate is go to the election websites that sends questions to the candidates of all the parties, and there's thousands of people who wants to become politicians, wants to go to the parliament and in the government. There's thousands of people running, and different news agencies and even the government sends them questionnaires to answer, to provide information for us normal citizens who to vote on. And then we can like give our own answers, and the website or the app or the machine itself will calculate and provide you the best candidates for you and shows you their answers, their reasonings for their answers. And that's such a fucking great tool. I found so many good candidates there throughout those like apps and services provided by the government or the news outlets. And all of the news outlets have their own. They all have their own different questions. And that's why it's so freaking fun. I usually do all of them because I want to see that what the candidate that this one site gave me, is he actually consistent with his answers? Or maybe there's a question that he wasn't asked before, let's say about like nuclear power, like nuclear energy. And all of a sudden he's talking shit about like giving bad answers when it comes to nuclear energy. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of bad. So I wouldn't vote for that guy. That's something that's missing from Ireland. Of course, in the United States, that would be harder to do because you have 340 million people living there. So it's a bit of a bigger task there. But you could do that locally, like state-wise. Because if you break the United States into individual states, that is more manageable. And that would provide more information. Of course, you don't have as much nuances that you have in Europe. You don't have as many political parties there. You don't really have like freedom inside those parties either, even though there's like Bernie Sanders in the Democratic Party and you have your Ron Paul or Thomas Massie in the Republican Party. Those are not my favorite Republicans, just two that are a bit more against the Trumpism, the MAGA movement. Well, Thomas Massie not so much, but except for the Epstein files. And Ron Paul has been, or Rand Paul, there's two of them, has been in the crosshairs of Trump for a long time. I would like to ask you a rather controversial question. You can skip if it's too rough. Would you be in favor of a grand reevaluation of granted citizenship since, let's say, year 2000? No, that's a good question. I'll throw you a follow-up, and then you can follow up that if you want to. So you're talking about reevaluation of citizenship to, are we talking to Finland, or are we talking any specific country? Well, let's say the United States or Ireland, for example, or is it just in general? Like, we're not specifying like what country we're talking about. Somebody wrote, all media slants left propaganda in their main agenda. No, they don't. Depends what media you read. But let's say like in Finland, Europe and NA. Okay. So I have another follow-up. When we're talking about reevaluation their granted citizenship, what are we evaluating for? Are we evaluating, because all countries have different rules and different criteria when it comes to citizenship. So, sorry for being a nitpicker, but we need to be precise. For example, in Finland, they just changed the criteria and the requirements to have a citizenship in Finland. Contribution to the welfare system. Okay? This is why that topic is not, again, it's a nuanced answer. I don't mind that. Like, evaluating any existing process or any existing, but when you're saying the favor of granted citizenships. Okay. So yeah, I would actually, to make it a bit more like consistent, I would delete that term granted citizenships and I would put it like citizenships in general. I know that's a bit of a more hot topic, but what about we reevaluate all citizenships? And I would also expand the criteria from contributing to the welfare system to criminal records and like sentences and all of that stuff. Because let's say I get a citizenship next year. Well, it's actually in 2 years. No, next year. We're in 2026. So I can get my Irish citizenship in 2027. Okay, then 2 years into my citizenship, I'm in a car crash and I'm paralyzed from my neck down. So I would not contribute to the welfare system. I would be a receiver, not a giver, you know? So technically, if we're reevaluating my citizenship based on that, that is not the same thing as somebody willingly not working and sticking on the welfare because they like to drink alcohol more. So we wouldn't be in the same line. I would like to contribute, but I'm paralyzed from the neck down. But the other person is an alcoholic and likes to drink. So if you understand, but that's where universal basic income would come and make that criteria of contributing to the welfare system obsolete. But no, I'm not against stuff like reevaluating citizenships. Let's say I came from India with my wife. We have lived in Finland for 25 years, only lived on social benefits, didn't learn the language. Would I have a problem with that? Not really. Would I do that? Not really. You know? But because at the end of the day, even though the net sum of that would be negative, you would receive more than you give. You will still use services that require employment. You will still buy stuff. You will still contribute in different ways. But if hundreds of thousands of people did this, that's a bit of a deeper conversation, to be fair. I believe it would overwhelm the whole system. It could be. It definitely could. Cross of Europe, stop taking Indians' name, punk. No, it was just a hypothetical. I have a lot of Indian friends here in Ireland, and I even know Indians in Finland. I think they're fucking awesome. Pro, let me tell you something. All right, here we go. Cross of Europe, maybe have more kids. Well, one thing I like about Indians is they at least pronounce my real name properly. They're like, I have a lot of different like international friends from different cultures, and the only ones that can provide, if you're not a native Finn or a Swedish or Norwegian, which can pronounce my real name properly, but the only ones that can actually pronounce my name really well are people from the Middle East and Indians. Did I forget somebody? No. Middle East and Indians can pronounce my name properly. My Finnish name. Chop, dude. Okay? Or were you supposed to say, what's up, dude?
For the few. And when the entrenched ways would rather have us dig in our feet and seek refuge in the past, we have chosen instead to turn towards making a new future for all of us.
Where's Bernie Sanders?
In Zohran Mamdani, we have chosen a mayor who is relentlessly dedicated to making life not just possible, but aspirational for working people.
Oh, there we go. My bad. No worries. What a Brian.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much.
I found Bernie Sanders.
For inviting me to what has been an extraordinarily moving and beautiful afternoon. And I'm here mostly to thank the people of New York City. At a time in our country's history when we are seeing too much hatred, too much divisiveness,
oh my fucking
and
God.
too much injustice.
I have to say here that I didn't hear Bernie Sanders' speech, because if you listen to Bernie now and you listen to me a while back talking about why Mamdani's speech was really good and why he probably won the election, they are quite similar. Which would make sense because I've followed Bernie for a long time, but I didn't hear Bernie's speech before I said what I thought.
Thank you for electing Zohran Mamdani as your mayor. New York, thank you for inspiring our nation.
But I do believe the European needs to have programs that will promote having more kids. At this rate, Caucasian race will face extinction in 200 years. I don't think it's a good thing. I would do the same thing as Poland does. Poland gives tax cuts for every kid. No, not talking about immigration. We were talking about having more kids. So Poland gives, I think with the first child it was 50% like tax cut, and with the second one it's up to 75, and if you have 3 kids or more it's 100% tax cuts. Oh my God, somebody needs to, hopefully I'm not mistaking that. Across of Europe, you have an IQ of 40. What? 42? Oh, across of Europe. Oh, fuck. I thought you were talking about everybody across Europe. Where's Jutta? Fact check me on that. I think it was Poland, but now I started to think it might be Lithuania as well. But Googling. It's one of those former East Bloc countries. Cross of Europe, your mom's like my in her of account though. Come on. Don't fight in the chat. No fighting in the chat.
Thank you for giving us from coast to coast.
Just a second, my fact checker is checking if I'm talking complete bullshit.
That we can create government that works for all, not just the wealthy and the few.
This guy, Bernie Sanders, should have been the president, but he got screwed by the Democratic Party and screwed by Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders won the Democratic primaries, but the Democratic Party decided to go with Hillary Clinton. And of course, we know that's why they lost against Trump. I don't know if Bernie would have won, but it would have been a fucking absolute cinema. It would have been absolute cinema. Bernie would have had less skeletons in the closet than Hillary. Bernie Sanders is good, but he's too pro-Israel. He's talked against Israel quite a lot of time. He's a Jew as well. But Bernie is one of those rare ones that he separates religion from what the government of Israel is doing. So Bernie Sanders has criticized Israel quite a few times. Bernie Sanders becomes the first US senator to say Israel committing genocide in Gaza. Over the last 2 years, Israel has not simply defended itself against Hamas, Sanders wrote. Instead, it has waged an all-out war against the entire Palestinian people. Hungary. Okay. Since 2020, mothers with 4 or more kids receive a lifelong exemption from personal income tax. Poland introduced zero personal income tax in 2025 for families with 2 or more children, but it's capped. There you go. That's why we need a fact checker. So, because I also talk quite a lot, and there's a lot of information inside my head, so I might misquote those things. But I remember it was one of those Eastern Bloc countries, like Poland, Lithuania, or in this case, Hungary. But yeah, Poland as well. Because I just read it like a week or 2 ago. Yeah, he's too old now. 100%. Bernie Sanders is way too old now. He would have been okay back in 2016. But now, nah, fuck no. Bernie's too old. He even said that he's too old. Is Bernie older than Trump? Oh, yeah. Bernie's 84, Trump is 79, so 5 years older. And Bernie said that he was too old 5 years ago. So he was 79 then. God damn. I think he's too old. Next president I want is Gavin Newsom. But I think that's not a bad idea, that giving tax breaks and tax cuts to people if they have kids. Of course. We know that this is the issue with, well, that's not an issue in Europe per se, but for example, here in Ireland, it would be an issue. But if you give tax breaks or tax cuts or lower taxes, that means that people have more money, and that would mean that the landlords, the renters, the housing market, they would just increase all their prices because people have more money to spend. The cost of living never stays the same. It goes up if there's ever tax cuts or tax breaks. So there should be government regulation to keep everything as they are and then give those tax cuts. then people would actually benefit from it. But that's the issue, like why a lot of young people aren't having kids is, well, first of all, they don't want to. Second of all, it is fucking expensive to do. Even in Europe, it's fucking expensive, let alone in America. JD will probably be the next POTUS. Hopefully not. Hope not. Although I do like a man that proudly uses makeup. Now people are just wondering, what the fuck am I talking about? If you haven't, if you've never seen this before, he does this all the time. Now you can't unsee it, so I'm gonna ruin JD Vance for you forever. JD Vance uses eyeliner. And now, if you go and see JD Vance, you will only see that he uses eyeliner. Which is not, like, I'm not judging that. I have a really, really, really bad skin allergy. I use makeup. The Democrats will get even less votes next election. I don't think... I think the Democrats has a really good chance of winning the midterms yet. Ireland has zero tax credit for children, only the €140 per month benefit. Millions of people will be deported till next election. I don't think so. They have not done anything yet. Majority of these people getting deported vote for the Democrats. A lot of them don't have a right to vote, though. That's a bit of an issue. Has it ever been confirmed that Vance uses eyeliner? I read that the way his eye sockets are. No, because, like, from time to time he doesn't use eyeliner. I don't, now you made me guess it, but I don't mind if he uses eyeliner, that's fine. Like, I don't judge. Why wouldn't, like, men also try to make themselves look better? For example, in this picture, it doesn't look like he has eyeliner, but there's pictures like fucking this. I can see the line. I don't have that. AI is saying he doesn't use it. I don't know. But I'm not judging. I think that's fucking brave if he doesn't. He looks evil. Nah. I don't think JD Vance looks evil. Fact checks and makeup experts attribute his dramatic eye appearance to natural features, long, dark, thick lashes, possibly double lashes, or a genetic trait like... Could be. Hooded eyelids creating shadows and lighting, TV makeup enhancing the look. 100% it could be. I mean, in that photo you show. Oh, yeah. But you have to admit, he should be a fucking eye model instead of a what is he? Vice president. Hey, Croc, remove that ugly one. Okay, calm down. People started like bombarding Croc with commands to whoa there. Elon hided the pictures of Croc. That's fucking cruel. It was just 2 days ago that you could actually go here and see the Crocs that the photos that Croc has generated. Definitely unusual if he doesn't use it. Oh yeah. But I mean, maybe he has the gift though. This is exactly what people have been doing the whole day. Is, hey Croc, remove something, something, something from the picture. And then you have the follow-up from Croc. Elon Musk about to be a trillionaire. Oh yeah. Croc is amazing at big generation. The only... This is also what they've been doing. Brace yourself. Hey Croc, put them in a tight bikini. Yeah. This is what AI was supposed to be used at. Sorry TikTok, you can't see it, so. Take a good fucking picture of that. As a screensaver. Oh my fucking god. Hey Croc, remove the pedophile. Yeah, like that they have less moderation compared to ChatGPT. That's gonna probably change once Elon comes down from the ketamine high. Like... Hey Croc, remove the war criminal and pedophile from this image. Put them in bikinis again. Oh my fucking god. Alright, let's talk about something a bit more not so lighthearted. Let's talk about and see what's the update. If you didn't know this, there was a bit of a unfortunate start. In ChatGPT, even these funny photos are tough to create, 100%. There was a bit of a bad start to the year in Switzerland. And this was the first thing I read in the morning. Apparently you slant left, my friend. Oh yeah, it's not a secret. There was a bar fire that killed at least 40 people. And the injury amount has increased to 115. So 1:30 in the morning in Le Constellation. A fire started that caused some explosions as well. And it was inside a popular tourist attraction. It was an accident, as far as we know at the moment. The Swiss police said that they ruled out the possibility of like intent explosion or terrorism. But it's fucking tragic. Especially because people were just celebrating and having a good time between the New Year's Eve and night. And 40 people died, 115 people injured. A horrible way to start a new year. There's a lot of videos from it as well, but I don't want to shock anyone. 40 is a lot of deaths. Very questionable though. Why is it questionable? I know where this is going. There was a lot of conspiracy theories blaming certain factions for causing this. I also read something remarkable happening in India. Sorry, but I don't accept racism. That's where I draw the line. Especially because I have a lot of good friends from India. So I think those jokes are fucking outdated as hell. But yeah, they're still investigating the nightclub fire. And trying to figure out what happened. And even though there's a lot of speculation in X and other places, there were some Israeli social media influencers saying that this was a Muslim attack. Then there was a bunch of like pro-Palestinians saying that this was done by Mossad. Then there was a lot of Pakistanis saying that these were Indians, and there was a lot of Indians saying these were Pakistani. Some said that this was a false flag from Elon Musk because he's anti-EU, but that wouldn't make sense because Switzerland, you know, there's so many fucking rumors regarding the tragedy in Switzerland. So as with every tragedy that takes life, we need to let the police do their work. We need to let the authorities in Switzerland do their due diligence, and they will provide us the information once they're done. Any of that makes no sense. No, it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. It's whatever creates clicks. Pakistanis say Indians are terrorists. Wow, that too after what happened in Australia. But that, what I learned from my Indian friends, that like attitude towards each other spans quite long. Not everyone, but there's like those who still keep that going. Switzerland to hold 5 days of mourning after 40 killed in resort fire. Place that swept through crowded New Year's Eve bar in Grants, Montana also injured 115 people. Do you know a lot of Pakistanis use Indian name to open the restaurant in Ireland? Oh, really? I actually know quite a few Pakistanis as well. Switzerland will hold 5 days of mourning after an unprecedented fire. I think this is just shocking, especially of the timing as well. Like, people are just coming back from like celebrating New Year's, and the first thing you read in the morning, or if you're a local, the first thing you see is a tragedy. So it's 100% not a great start for a year. Not something that anyone would want to happen. But then we have the Iran situation that somebody mentioned already. So there's been a lot of protests going in Iran at the moment, and 2 killed so far. 2 people are reported to have been killed during growing unrest in Iran on the 5th day of the protest over the soaring cost of living. This hasn't been shown that much in mainstream media. Well, to be fair, there has been quite a lot of bigger things going on. I will let you one thing. One is democracy and one is under military dictatorship. So I think the reason why this hasn't seen as much coverage around the world is because there's a lot of like more bigger things going on, even though it is a big thing that Iran's economy is in the shitter. Also, people are not happy, and also the government is quite warmongering. So there's a lot of things going on at the same time that are the root cause for the protest. Both the semi-official Fars news agency and human rights group Hengao said people had died during clashes between protesters and security forces in the city of Lordegan. On Thursday, videos posted on social media showed cars set on fire during running battles between protesters and security forces. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this. And it's not that far, like it's just a few days ago when Iran's president said that they are technically in full-out war with Europe, Israel, and US. They want to play it down. Oh, 100%. Many protesters have called for ending the rule of the country's supreme leader. Some have also called for a return to the monarchy. Thursday marks the 5th day of protest in cities across the country sparked by a currency collapse. That is true. But that's, for example, why you need to hop around different news sources. For example, Al Jazeera is a really good source. If there's ever like internal conflicts in like Arabic regions, for example, during the Syria war, I don't know how much Al Jazeera based their reporters, but there was fucking reporters taking that fucking mustard gas in Syria when what's his name? Balazar, no. The former dictator that fucking murdered their own citizens. Oh, that's a hard name to say, but thanks for the follow. Why can't I remember the name? But the previous dictator of Syria used mustard gas on their own citizens, so Al Jazeera reporters were there on the ground in the middle of everything. Okay, they might be a bit biased when they're talking about Israel. Bashar al-Assad, yes, Bashar al-Assad, that's the one. Fucking A. The currency collapse and shit is just like Lebanon all over again. Yeah, but Al Jazeera, I wouldn't read Al Jazeera's news when it comes to, like, take it as face value when it comes to news about Israel, because they're quite biased when it comes to that. But what they do is they send their reporters in those fucking hellholes, those war zones inside the Gulf and Arabic regions. At least they do that. I hope they pay their reporters well. Doubt it. But at least they report from the ground, which is nice. They were also one of the few that actually sent reporters to Nepal when they had that uprising, that coup, that they drove the government out. So kudos to them. But again, I don't take any news source as 100% accurate. That's why you need to jump between different sources. The media never tells whole truth that what's happening on the ground. No, definitely not. They're biased. There's biases. Qatar should also be dealt with. They fund lots of terrorist activity across the world. But Qatar is an ally of the US, so Qatar is not going to be dealt with. Saudi Arabia will not be dealt with because they're also an ally with the US. That's the bit of a hot topic as well when it comes to the Middle East. It's like the US is a bit too tied with monarchies and royalty and countries that are dabbling in funding terrorist cells and terrorist organizations. Because US can't really say shit, for example, to Saudis when Saudis are funding terrorists, or Qatar when they're funding terrorists. Because they are allies and they are business partners. Al Jazeera pays well, apparently. God damn. Hopefully. I hope they do. Especially because they also send, like, reporters closer to
has been killed in a western region.
Palestine.
Chief prosecutor has warned of a
And we know, like,
response.
being a reporter or a journalist in Palestine is one of the most deadliest professions to have there. Aid worker, doctor, daycare worker, or journalist. USA only likes democracy when it suits them. Yeah.
If the protest
biased democracy. But this is going to be interesting to see that where this goes. Hopefully they get change, because one thing that Iran needs is a bit of, like, revolution, just like in Nepal and Bangladesh and Slovakia and Bulgaria and Peru and Madagascar and
to defeat us, they would have to come and face
Sri
us
Lanka,
on the ground. And if they were
East
to
Timor.
confront this nation on the ground, if we remain determined, united and committed,
One of
to
the few
working
places
together
where
to
one
make
can
our
say
country
that I
proud,
hope they
it
go
would be
back in the good
impossible
old
for them
times.
to
Well, actually, over the
Yeah, it's that is actually a good point. It's rare to say that something was way better in the past, but Iran is one of those that I can also say that what they had before the religious hostile takeover in the 80s, what they had before that was way better than what they have at the moment. Like, Iran's universities were fucking awesome. The same was in Lebanon. Before the 90s, Lebanon was considered to be one of the best places for university students. But it got fucked up by the government and by the West. So Lebanon kind of suffered the same fate as Iran. But slowly but surely, Lebanon is at least like coming out of that bit of a period. Assad was the former dictator in Syria. Yeah. Bashar al-Assad. That broke all fucking international laws and rules of war and used mustard fucking gas. Out of all the possibilities, mustard gas on his own citizens. And now Syria has a former Al-Qaeda leader that was wanted, one of the most wanted from the FBI and CIA as their leader, and he just walked to the White House. That's fucking baffling. You have a wanted criminal, a known terrorist of Al-Qaeda, that's been on the hit list of the United States for a long time. And now you're just invited to the White House and you're treated like a fucking war hero. But as Trump said, in the past he's done some bad things. Hey, Top Dog, thanks for the heart and call popular. Ryan also sent me a rose. This is one of the most hilarious news you will find. This is a bit older one, but like one of the comedy writers from South Park saw the future. Predicted the future that Trump is gonna rename the Kennedy Center. So the comedy writer bought the domain rights for the Kennedy Center. TrumpKennedyCenter.org and TrumpKennedyCenter.com. I don't know how the fuck he predicted that, but he did. While President Trump was leading a campaign to remake the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, a comedy writer was busy securing the most intuitive web address for its new name, TrumpKennedyCenter.org, and turning it into a parody of the institution. Next events. Ring in the new year with the performance by the Epstein Dancers. Fucking comedy. Oh my fucking god. Look at this. TrumpKennedyCenter.org, redacted J. Trump redacted 13-year-old girl. Help build and maintain the website. Oh, this is freaking hilarious. Kudos. Toppy Morton, 54, a television writer and producer who has worked on the animation sitcom South Park and Mad TV, said on Thursday that he secured the domain in August, wagering that a name change would come after Mr. Trump purged several members of the Kennedy Center's board and installed himself as its chairman. Trump will not be the president in 2028. Sorry about that. First of all, the Constitution. Second of all, he'll die probably within the next 1 or 2 years. Because he's an old guy. And also with dementia. Probably some other disease as well. But mainly because of the Constitution. He's not gonna... Unless they want to create a new amendment to making... The amendment that say that they can't have more terms than 2. If they don't want to follow the Constitution, that's completely fine, but that's traitorous. Treasonous. They should be hanged. Nah, just kidding. I don't believe in the death penalty, so. But it is treasonous, though. Since 2020, I've been grabbing domains tied to politicians and authority figures and turning them into blunt, often uncomfortable reflections of what they actually represent. His bet paid off. Workers added Mr. Trump's full name to the center marble facade last month. Its real website, KennedyCenter.org, switched its header in identifying the institution as the Trump Kennedy Center. The center has not officially announced a new website. Visitors to TrumpKennedyCenter.org, instead of seeing a schedule for the center's usually slate of classical music, jazz, theater, and ballet performers, are met with an announcement for a show by the Epstein Dancers. A redesigned logo subtly depicts the building's columns as prison bars. A banner at the top of the website proclaims the center a national institution devoted to power and loyalty. A disclaimer at the bottom states that it is indeed a parody. Beginning January 2026, TrumpKennedyCenter.org enters a new era of devotion, unity, and inherited authority. A message on the website say, "We exist to preserve what must endure, to honor what must not be questioned, and to gather those who understand that greatness is not chosen, it is recognized." On Monday, shortly after the parody website went online, Mr. Morden posted a screenshot of an encouraging message from Kerry Kennedy, a lawyer and niece of President John F. Kennedy, who has condemned the renaming. The Kennedy Center and the White House did not immediately respond to requests for comments, including an inquiry as to whether they planned legal actions against Mr. Morden to claim the domain. Mr. Morden has performed similar stunts in the past, purchasing dozens of domains, which typically cost, which is true. If you've ever bought a domain, it's like $10, $20 per year. They include satirical sites about two notable Texas politicians, Attorney General Paxton.com and Governor Greg Abbott.com. Oh my God, does he own that one as well? The failures of Greg Abbott. People die on my watch. Oh, he's done a bit more. Listen, it's not about guns. It's about the rise in mass shootings to mental health challenges, even though it's not known if the 18-year-old gunman who killed 19 children and 2 adults had a history of mental illness. Oh shit, I got $211 million from mental health services, so I'm contradicting myself. Anyway, it could have been worse. Oh my fucking God, this is so golden. And let's not forget, hours after children were massacred in Uvalde, I flew on a donor's private jet to a private fundraiser. I stayed for nearly 3 hours just by claiming I only went to let people know that I could not stay, that I needed to go to Austin. I'm a straight up liar. Money is more important than children's life. Not an opinion, but a fact. Just look at my actions. Fucking A. What's the solution? This is so freaking hilarious. This is also sad when it comes to like gun deaths. Women's rights. Serves them right. But he got an email about the website though. Tom Morton. I'm pretty sure he got it. Legal threat. Ah, fuck. Because he responded to them like, go fuck yourself. From Kerry Kennedy. Hi, Toby. Around the Robert and Ethel Kennedy Human Rights Center, we currently have over 27. We currently have over 27th lawsuits against. Why is it 27th? Against the Trump administration. Part of our mandate is to protect my father's reputation and enhance his vision of a just and peaceful world. I can't tell you how thrilled that was when I read that you had purchased the Trump Kennedy Center domain name. There are many former forms back to this system, and yours is unique and impactful. I just want to express my gratitude. I don't know if that's actually like correct, because there's some typos there, but it is kind of funny though. All right, that's gonna be enough. Enough of yabbering. Zohran Mamdani, fucking great. Bernie Sanders, always beautiful. But we'll see you guys the next time.